Adora, you have severe internal damage, he said softly. The infection has spread and it has affected your reproductive organs. This is the story of Adora, a bright, ambitious girl from a small village in Nigeria. She was the pride of her parents, who had sacrificed so much to see her through secondary school. But when it came time to pay for her university education, the reality of their poverty hit hard. They had no money left, and the thought of Adora'S dream slipping away was unbearable. Desperate to continue her education, Adora sought help from everyone she knew. She approached relatives, appealed to friends, and even tried to get a loan, but nothing worked. One day, while walking through the bustling streets of the city, she ran into an old friend, Ifeoma, who was dressed in the latest designer clothes and carrying an expensive handbag. Adora, long time no see, Ifeoma exclaimed, hugging her warmly. Adora forced a smile. Ifeoma, it's been a while. How are you? I'm doing well, very well, Ifeoma replied, her smile fading as she noticed Adora's tired eyes. What's wrong? You don't look happy. Adora sighed deeply. I can't afford my university fees. My parents are struggling and I've tried everything, but nothing is working. Ifeoma's eyes softened with sympathy. That's tough. But there might be another way, she said cautiously. Adora looked at her, intrigued. What do you mean? Ifeoma hesitated, then leaned in closer. There is a group of girls I know. They help each other out, and they've been able to afford everything they need. School fees, rent, clothes, you name it. Adora frowned. What do they do? Ifeoma looked around to make sure no one was listening. They get connected to rich men who provide for them in exchange for companionship. Adora's heart skipped a beat. She had heard of this lifestyle before, but she had never considered it for herself. It felt wrong, but so did giving up on her dreams. The thought of staying in the village, watching her future slip away, was too much to bear. I don't know, Ifeoma, Adora said, torn between her values and her desperation. Just think about it, Ifeoma urged. It's not an easy life, but it's a way out. And you can stop anytime you want. That night, Adora lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. The thought of her parents' disappointed faces haunted her, but so did the fear of losing herself. In the end, desperation won out. She called Ifeoma the next day. Within weeks, Adora was introduced to a world she had never imagined. Lavish parties, expensive gifts, and wealthy men who promised to take care of her. At first, it seemed like the answer to all her problems. She paid her school fees, bought new clothes, and even sent money home to her parents. But the more she got involved, the more she realized how dangerous this life was. The men were demanding, and the lifestyle came with risk. Adora became one of the hookup girls, as they were called, always on edge, trying to maintain the illusion of control. But deep down, she knew she was losing herself. One night, After a particular rough encounter, Adora felt a sharp pain in her lower abdomen. It was unlike anything she had ever felt before. She tried to brush it off, but the pain only got worse. Finally, she went to the hospital, terrified of what she might hear. The doctor examined her with a grave expression. "Adora, you have severe internal damage," he said softly. "The infection has spread and it has affected your reproductive organs. I'm sorry, but we had to perform an emergency surgery to remove your womb." Adora felt her world crumbled around her. The one thing she had never considered, the one thing she had taken for granted, was gone. Her dreams of having a family, of living a normal life, were shattered in an instant. She returned home, broken and ashamed, unable to face her parents. When they finally found out, they were devastated. They had always known Adora was struggling, but they had never imagined it would come to this. "Adora, why didn't you tell us?" her mother wept, holding her daughter close. "I didn't want to disappoint you," Adora whispered through her tears. "I wanted to make you proud." Her father, usually a man of few words, spoke with a trembling voice. "Adora, you've always made us proud. We would rather have seen you struggle and overcome than lose you to this." Adora's choice had cost her dearly. The money, the luxury, the attention. It has all seemed so important at the time. But now, with her womb gone and her future uncertain, she realized that some things could never be replaced. Adora left the city and returned to the village, determined to rebuild her life. She found solace in her family and in helping other young girls avoid the same mistakes she had made. She started a foundation to support girls from poor backgrounds, offering them scholarship and counseling so they wouldn't have to make the same choices she did.